Well, hello everyone. Greetings from Las Vegas. I'm Ed Baig with USA Today here at the Consumer Electronics Show with my cohort and good buddy Mike Snyder.
Day two, the official day two of CES. I had a pretty interesting night last night. There was some drama in the legal world when Monster sued Beats, which was acquired by Apple last year for $3 billion, and Monster's basically saying that their IP was stolen from them by Beats. So if you want to check that out, we have the full story on usatoday.com. Then we have an interesting day today. I incorrectly said I was going to see the FCC chairman yesterday. That's today. And I'm also going to get to see Neil Young today. And what are you doing today, Ed?
Well, I'm actually excited about what we're going to do right here on this show because we have some heavyweight guests coming on. We have heads of Motorola. We have AT&T's Ralph De La Vega here. But we're going to start with my colleague Jefferson Graham, who's out at the Canon booth, and he's going to tell us about a new home camera system. Jeff? Should I say it about coming off? What should I say?
You have some new ones. How did that come about?
That was one of those things that Brian Noyes, I'm thinking he's the brain. Okay. You know, I keep him in the background. But he came up with the concept of collaborating with Lucasfilms, and it really worked. Like I know that I was like the audience is because you got these geeky guys that are completely into Star Wars, and then 50 Cent like. But it's cool. Like I've always enjoyed to watch the film itself, but I've seen people have extreme passion for it on a whole nother level. And when we did it, when we projected, we do with the headsets. We did it the first day instead of the quarter that we thought.
So 50, what Star Wars headphone do you prefer?
I like the bad guy. You know, I like the Darth Vader, slick, smooth, and then has his life support would be in his back on the sides.
Now the previous models were all smooth. These are raised and have a little more definition. Talk to me about where you're going new, you know, the new ways you're going with these.
Yeah, we figured out how to make it more like the character. You know, so because of the finish on the Darth Vader's actual suit is why this headset is looked this way, and we put the life support here, and it's like a rubber feel, and a lot of details to it that a person who's passionate about it will appreciate everything that's been done on it.
So SMS has been in business about 4 years or so. Right. Talk about some of the challenges and some of the successes you've had and what you've seen from consumers.
Well, starting, I had a great experience. Like I found the right team for SMS, and you know, going into certain retailers that they have relationships with. Well, Beats had Jimmy Iovine owns Beats, and he owned a major record company. You know, prior to, so you have relationships by way of delivering music that would bring people into those stores, and he was able to leverage those things. So we felt resistance that was from that specifically. They felt like we're direct competitors, so they would go, just not that. Anything else, because they know the people wouldn't choose over, you know, for the other things, you know, and it worked. We worked past it, and because my touring prior to, you know, this period allowed me to have visibility in different markets, we've been able to surpass Beats in international territories in different areas. So we're turning into Adidas while they're Nike, and it's all good.
Well, 50, thanks for taking time with us, and good luck with the new headphones.
Pleasure, man. I appreciate you.
And we are back, and I'm honored to have with us Rick Osterloh, who is the president of Motorola, the guy who runs Motorola. Now, Motorola, of course, recently has gone through a few changes over the last years or so, last few years. Google,
That's
of course,
right.
owned it, sold it to Lenovo, of course, the Chinese company known mostly for its computers, but now, heading you guys. So, I know you made some news here at the show this week, back to China with Lenovo, and I want to ask you about that, but more importantly, what it means for the U.S. audience, you know?
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, we've been a part of Lenovo for about 2 months, and right away we've been taking some really good actions to grow our business. And one of the most important things we're doing is going back to China, which we announced. Motorola's been in China for so many years, but for the past couple, we haven't been doing business there when we were part of Google. And now as part of Lenovo, we get to tap into our great heritage there, and we're going to deliver 3 phones starting in a month in China. So we're really excited to go back.
Now, people are wondering, though, about the Lenovo brand versus the Motorola brand here in the U.S. Motorola brand going to continue, Moto brand?
Yeah.
Will there be Lenovo phones in the U.S.? Talk about how
Yeah,
that shakes out.
There's really not going to be any changes to Motorola's strategy. We're going to be here. We're going to be really present. We're going to be using the Motorola brand all over the world, not just in the U.S. Lenovo does great business in emerging markets, and there'll be some markets like India and China where we do business together under 2 different brands. And but in places like America, Western Europe, we'll primarily be using the Motorola brand in our products to lead.
Even though Lenovo has gotten a name for itself in the computer side of things.
Yeah, the #1 PC maker in the world. We're now number 3 in phones worldwide. We have a really complementary footprint too in the phone business, which is great. So we can sell our products wherever Lenovo is all over the world, in Asia and Eastern Europe, and places where Motorola isn't doing business today.
Okay, now I have to ask you about wearables, because of course that's a hot topic and has been. I'm actually wearing the Moto 360 watch, Android Wear watch, very nice watch. Has had some issues with battery life, and that's been an issue for wearables generally. What are you guys doing to address that?
Yeah, well, first off, I think the category, if you take a 10-year view, is going to be really interesting, really amazing. And it's great to be here on the ground floor with something that I think is the first sort of usable product, useful product. And I think you have great taste. But I agree with your point. Some of the key things that we have to tackle as an industry are things like battery life, things like making sure the ecosystem that works so well on Android phones also works really well on the watches. If we can get through some of those key issues, then I think this category could really take off.
Do people, I mean, again, we hear a lot about wearables. We're starting to see, many fitness-focused devices and such. But do people get it yet? Do they, this thing on my wrist, I mean, we hear a lot of things about the generation that doesn't wear watches at all.
Right. Yeah, well, I think it is very much an early adopter market right now. So there are people who really get it. On our product, we were all about trying to get great style and design, so it could be something that was truly a replacement for a watch. But we've added a lot of interesting functionality around wellness, and that's a key focus of ours. We want to make sure people can track their steps. They can see how many calories they're burning, what distance they've walked, and how active their heart rate's been. And I think that's a really killer application for these wearable products, and it's something we're going to be focused on.
From a competitive point of view, are you concerned about Apple bringing in the Apple Watch?
It's so early in the category that I'm not concerned. I think it's going to raise a lot of awareness. This is going to be a multi-year journey, and we're just thrilled to be out with what we think is the best first product.
Okay, let me also ask you, shifting back to phones specifically, of course, you are a major player with Android, obviously.
Yes.
Windows. Does Motorola have any thoughts about?
We don't have any Windows plans at the moment. I think we're still focused on Android, and that's our focus for the foreseeable future.
So what does the person out there curious about Motorola, you're not, well, if you want to tell me, you want to reveal everything secretive that's coming, let me know, because people want to know. But what moving forward? I mean, again, we talk wearables as a long-term trend.
Yeah,
what do you see moving forward?
Well, I think we've got what I think is a very simple to explain and very different strategy, which is to focus on a small number of truly great products and give the end consumer the power to choose. That is our brand platform, and that's what our product strategy is all about. We have a system called Moto Maker that allows a user to customize their phone. We give software control to the end user. We don't layer on a bunch of unnecessary software. We let the user customize that. And that's our thinking, and that's going to extend over the long term. It's pretty simple to understand, and we think it's pretty different than what anyone else is doing.
And what do you see? I mean, we also saw the trend this year, and you guys, you make the Nexus 7 for Google.
Yes.
Moving to these monster-sized phones, the phablets and such. Do you see that continuing to happen? I look at some of the old phones that I've been carrying, and they're small. Don't see as well as we used to. Is the phablet really becoming the big deal, no pun intended, that?
Yeah, well, first off, I think the smartphone business is so gigantic that there's going to be a range of different tastes, from smaller phones to very large phones. But absolutely, the trend has been to get bigger and bigger. We made our Moto X screen about half an inch bigger this year. It's 4.7, or from 4.7 to 5.2, and of course we launched Nexus 6, a really large 6-inch screen.
I think I said inadvertently said Nexus 7.
Yeah.
Because I want you to tell me about the Nexus 7, right?
Yeah. But I think you're right. There's a big trend to bigger screens because you can just get more done.
Okay. Well, Rick Osterloh, head of Motorola, now under Lenovo, we really appreciate your coming by.
Thank you, Ed. Great to talk to you.
And now we're going to shift gears and we're going to take a look at some products that are aimed at seniors, and that's of course a big growing market as well. We know what the demographics say, so let's take a look.
Do you remember this commercial?
I've fallen and I can't get up.
The technology is decades old, but what if?
To prevent falls from happening in the first place.
Mobile Vitals is a suite of products that are trying to be proactive in helping seniors monitor their health so that they are less likely to fall or have medical incidents. There are two main causes for falling.
Medication errors, and the second one is a simple lack of activity.
The company has developed a medication reminder app.
So having even a simple reminder app like we've introduced can help with that process of making sure to take the right medication when they need it.
And an activity tracker, which tracks the movement of the wearer.
Caregivers can look at that data and say, hey, mom's not really moving around as much as she had in the past.
The company also links other products, like a blood pressure cuff, a scale, and a blood glucose meter to help seniors monitor their own health, with the results being able to be sent to a doctor.
They've shown that patients who have chronic conditions tend to end up in the hospital frequently. And with monitoring and personal monitoring, they don't make as many hospital visits.
The key to making this work, and particularly with our demographic, is to make it really easy.
Which means fewer trips to the hospital and maybe even prevent falls.
And we are back, and I am here with Ralph de la Vega. Ralph, of course, is the CEO of AT&T Mobility and Business Solutions, and you guys made some news here this morning.
We had a great news to share with you this morning, Ed. We announced rollover data. You know, we were the ones that originated the concept of rollover, and now we're introducing it for data. And the great news is that every mobile share value customer we have will get it on January the 25th, and they don't have to do anything. And that's 50 million customers that will get rollover data. I think it's the biggest deployment of rollover data we've ever seen. And our rollover data rolls over the entire bucket every month. And it applies to every device in the account.
After a month, what happens?
After a month, you start a new month, and whatever you don't use that month rolls over to the next month. Very simple. Whatever you have this month that you don't use rolls over to the next month. And it's shareable. That is shareable across devices, across people on that account. So it's the uniqueness thing that makes it special. It makes it very simple. Rolls over from month to month. It's 50 million people that will get it, and you can share it across accounts, and it's good for consumers as well as businesses.
Okay, so I have to ask, your friends at T-Mobile recently introduced their own mobile, rollover plan, if you will. People are going to say, and this is obviously a very highly competitive industry, it's gotten personal at times. Is this playing catch up to them?
No, it's just the opposite. I think they took our rollover concept, and we're flattered that they decided to use it for data. We had planned to roll it out here at CES for a long time. In fact, we trademarked the name rollover data earlier in the year. And in November, the Wall Street Journal wrote an article about it, so we just didn't think about it in the last couple of weeks. We're the original concept people coming up with rollover, and we think that the response on voice was great, and the response on data is going to be even better.
Now, some will also say theirs is a more generous plan because they're going the full year, 12 months. You're doing the month.
But theirs is on an individual line basis, and ours is across the shared account. So I think what I love about our plan is, number one, they're shared plans, and then you can share the rollover data with any device that you need to in the month. So I think it's a great plan. Very simple, very straightforward, and I think it's very fair.
Now, this has been a very interesting time, shall we say, for the whole industry. We've seen changes, moving away from contracts, all this. Again, T-Mobile has been a disruptive force. They've come after you guys. It's been a lot of back and forth competitiveness. Ultimately, how does the consumer sort of sort through all? It can get very confusing.
It can get very confusing. That's why we like the fact that these plans don't expire. You know, there's some offers in the marketplace today that expire after a year. These offers that we're putting in the marketplace are good for as long as the customer has the plans. They're very straightforward and simple. And so we think that we have the fairest and simplest plans in the country. And what I like about what we're seeing here in the show, Ed, is all the new things that are also rolling out: connected cars, connected homes, the Internet of Things, things that we have focused on at AT&T for a number of years, and areas in which we are absolutely industry leaders in connecting cars, connecting the homes with our digital life products. And in the Internet of Things, we now have 18 million connected things to the Internet, which is one of the world leaders in that space.
How should the consumer think about AT&T or any, their carrier, their data provider in this new era of the Internet of Things, of the connected car? I mean, am I going to pay AT&T directly when I'm out in my car? Is it going to be through the car? I mean, there's a lot of things obviously that need to be worked out. How do you see it?
Here's the first thing you need to know about data. We're going to connect your home, your car, and everything else. The first thing you want to know about data is it's got to be reliable. And I'm very proud that our 4G LTE network covers 300 million people, and it's the most reliable 4G LTE nation in the country. So begin with that. But what we have opted to do, for example, in cars, you can add your car to your mobile share value plan, and you can have it eat out of that bucket. So you don't have to have a plan for your car and for your home. We can actually combine those and give you one shared plan that I think is the simplicity factor that customers want and are looking for.
So are customers clamoring for the connected car yet?
Oh, absolutely. I think what you see now, Ed, is I love what we've done with GM. Every GM car that rolls off the assembly line now, all 33 models, are connected by AT&T with our 4G LTE network. The Teslas, there's a couple of Teslas on the floor. We connect every Tesla. We connect every BMW. We connect the Audi A3. We connect Volvo. We just announced Subaru. So people in the car manufacturing business have seen the value that we bring to the table. But what I love what the car makers are doing is they're coming up with semi-autonomous and autonomous driving vehicles that are super exciting, and they're all connected with the technology that we provide them.
So is your car driving you around yet?
Not yet, but Mercedes showed a car, their autonomous vehicle, which is controlled again by your smartphone, which we think is the remote control for your life. And now to have your car pick you up, if you leave a restaurant, for example, you can just punch a button on your smartphone. The car knows who you are, authenticates you, and comes to pick you up. I think that's really cool. It's a concept, but I thought that's the kind of things that car manufacturers are doing when we give them great connectivity that's reliable with great coverage.
Great. Well, Ralph De La Vega, we appreciate your joining us this morning.
It's a pleasure, Ed. Thank you for having me.
And now we're going to switch gears again, and we're going to talk about Shazam, which is identifying the music you hear out there.
How's everybody doing? I'm Jefferson Graham from USA Today Tech here. We're gonna be talking tech here live at CES. We've got a bunch of guests. We're gonna start off with Rich Riley. Rich is the CEO of Shazam, and I know everybody in the audience knows about Shazam. I see you all checking your phones. Everybody's got Shazam on their phone, right? Yes. Shazam is the hot music app that's been around pretty much since the iPhone came out back in 2007. Why don't you start off by talking about where Shazam is now, because it started off as the most amazing technology to find a song you heard on the radio that you didn't know the name of. What is Shazam now?
Yeah, great question. So Shazam's been around for over 10 years, and like you said, very famous for helping you identify a song you don't know the name of. Still does that brilliantly over 20 million times per day. It's faster than ever, matches more songs than ever, and provides more content around those songs than ever. It's one of the 20 most popular apps in the world, used by over 100 million people per month, with 14 million new users each month. And so we've been focused on going deeper in music, and so we launched just before the holidays. Now that Shazam home screen, which just used to have a button on it, now has a full content feed based on content around what you've Shazammed. So videos, new releases from artists, what your friends have Shazammed, all kinds of cool stuff. And so you can just scroll and really have a destination site experience in addition to that utility experience. We also launched a player where you can play full songs and just swipe left, swipe right, and really discover music in a very, very rapid way in a very fun way based on what people are Shazamming around the world. And so that's really fun. But we've also gone beyond music. So we now Shazam, you can now Shazam any TV show in the US, and shows like the Grammys were Shazammed over 1 million times last year. So major music tentpole events, Super Bowl was Shazammed over 700,000 times. We've now Shazam-enabled movie theaters, retail environments, radio stations, outdoor advertising, and we announced just before the holidays a move into visual Shazamming where you'll be able to Shazam QR codes, print ads, barcodes, and we're also working on beacons. So we really want to make the world Shazammable and be a way to connect people to the world around them through their smart device.
But on any given day, most people are using Shazam to do what?
Primarily music. Primarily music. So I mentioned 20 million Shazams a day. Vast majority of those still music, but we do see millions of Shazams on advertisements of various sorts and increasingly in these new environments.
Where do you want to see Shazam go from here?
Well, we crossed the 100 million user milestone, which is a very, very rare one. We think less than 20 companies in the world have that sort of mobile scale. We think it should be used by, many hundreds of millions or 1 billion people, and that it should become really a daily part of your life, not something you just use when you hear a song you don't know the name of, but the way you engage with, what is that? I want to learn more about that ad. I want to learn more about that product. I want to learn more about this place. That Shazam is the one-tap connection to the world.
Okay. Now, tell me more about this player, because that sounded really interesting. The idea is that it's like the radio, basically. You turn it on, and other people are Shazamming songs, and you have no idea what's going to come up. It's just like a random collection of music?
So what it has is trending Shazams. Yeah. So it has the Shazams that have been Shazam most recently from around the world, and so you just click play all, and it just starts playing. And if you like it, you swipe. You can push thumbs up and it'll add to your Shazams. If you don't like it, you can just swipe left. And so you can very, very rapidly clip through a lot of music and really discover music in a very, very interesting way. If you're a Spotify or Rdio customer, you can also connect your account with Shazam and listen to the full track. And so for both Spotify and Rdio subscribers, the entire Shazam experience, you can listen to the full track without leaving Shazam.
Wow.
Hi, we're back at CES, USA Today Live Tech, and we have with us Frank Azor of Dell, and he's the head of their XPS division. Frank, thanks for being with us.
Yeah,
Looks like you brought some pretty interesting, cool products with us. Talk first about the laptop you have.
Well, it's been a really exciting CES for Dell. We launched a slew of new products. One of the most exciting ones that we launched is the brand new Dell XPS 13 notebook. What we've done with the XPS 13 is, while a lot of folks over the recent years have focused on getting thinner and thinner with notebooks, one of the things that they haven't focused too much on are the rest of the dimensions around the notebook. So you see some really thin notebooks out there. They're just gorgeous, but they have huge borders around the LCD, and it adds a lot of size and weight to the notebook. What we set out to do with the new XPS 13 is not only make it thin and beautiful with this aluminum, anodized aluminum we have on both sides here and the carbon fiber, but we're launching the world's first infinity display on a notebook. And what that means is you'll see nearly a borderless display around the LCD of the notebook. And what that allows us to do is give you a 13-inch notebook in a package of about what an 11-inch notebook is in terms of total size. And we did a couple other really cool things on the product as well. So we're featuring the latest Intel processors on here, which are giving us incredible performance. We have Core i3, i5, and i7 processors, so we're using some of the best quality and performing processors from Intel. We're delivering exceptional battery life, over 15 hours of battery life with this notebook. We offer touch and non-touch options, and the price is really interesting as well. It's $799 starting at price point for this product.
And how high up would you go?
You can get up to about maybe $1,700, $1,800, depending on what options you get. All of them come with 128 gig SSD, which we think is enough for pretty much mostly everybody. But if you want 256 or 512, that can get a little bit expensive. We also offer a quad high definition touch LCD option, so if you want higher resolution, like 2560 by 1600 resolution, that's also an option that adds a little bit of money. None of those things are necessary to say. It comes very well configured at $799, but if you want the best of the best, you're going to have to pay a little bit for it, yeah.
And when will people be able to get the laptop?
So we announced it yesterday. It's a brand new product. It's available right now on Dell.com.
Great.
Now, Frank, you, of course, are one of the co-founders of Alienware.
That's my other full-time job, yeah.
Yes, the machines for gamers. You've made some news there as well.
Yeah, we launched two really cool products at the show yesterday. We launched a brand new Alienware 15-inch notebook and a brand new Alienware 17-inch notebook. They're thinner, lighter, better performing than their predecessors. We actually put some really good battery life in them as well. We want to give our gamers a notebook that can not only serve the gaming purpose, but can actually be used in kind of an everyday environment, whether it be at school or at work. So we have over 7 hours of battery life that we're delivering on both of those products. And the 15-inch starts at $11.99, the 17-inch starts at $14.99, and they're both available right now.
And are those sold at retail or online or both?
Right now they're available online. It's a brand new product, so it will be made available in retail in the coming weeks. But right now you can only find it on Alienware.com and Dell.com.
What's interesting about PC gaming is people think that console gaming has kind of killed PC gaming, but that's not necessarily so, right?
It isn't. I mean, actually the contrary is true. PC gaming software revenues are actually higher than console gaming software revenues are, and they have been for a couple years now. And what's really been driving that phenomenon has been just the unique business models that have been emerging in PC gaming at a quicker pace than the traditional consoles have, like free-to-play games, massive multiplayer games like the League of Legends of the world and Dota 2 of the world. Those games are free-to-play games where people, tens of millions of our players are playing them, and they've just been, there's no cost of barrier of entry to begin playing the game, so it makes it really simple for folks to try it out. They fall in love with the game, and they get addicted to it.
Good. You have another gadget you want to show us that I've been holding. Talk a little bit about this beautiful piece.
This is, believe it or not, the world's thinnest tablet. We are really excited about this. This is a Dell Venue 8 7000 tablet. What you're seeing here is an Android-based tablet featuring a 2560 by 1600 OLED screen. This is a really premium LCD. It's just gorgeous, as you can see here. This starts off at $399 right now. It's also available on Dell.com. A couple of the innovations that you'll see on this product, aside from it being the world's thinnest at 6 millimeters thick, it also features the Infinity display, so it's almost a borderless display like we offer on the XPS 13 notebook. And it has a really cool technology. It has Intel's RealSense cameras, which allow you to take images and video in 3D. So what that allows you to do is, some of the features are like, if something's out of focus, for example, the camera's smart enough to know where everything is positioned in the picture, so you can assign focus to different objects within the picture based on their distance. You can actually measure things in the picture as well. So for example, if you want to measure the size of a couch and you take a picture of it, maybe at a furniture store or something, you can select the 2 points on the tablet after you take the picture, and it'll tell you this is a 3 foot deep couch or a 6 foot wide couch. So it can come really handy for like a real estate agent if they're trying to measure the size of a room, or if you just moved into a new home and you want to know how your furniture is going to be laid out and how it's going to fit inside the room. It's a really cool feature that we're seeing a lot of new use cases pop up for.
Well, Frank, thanks for catching us up on all things Dell and Alienware. And if you're in Vegas, you can go check it out at the CES here. We're going to wrap with the show here with you. We've got lots of good stuff on usatoday.com. Just type in ces.usatoday.com. We have plenty of stories, lots of video, lots of cool gadgets. And Ed, what are you going to be working on today?
Well, again, I'm going to be out there patrolling the show floor, looking for cool products like Frank here showed us. There's always cool stuff out there. And of course, we're going to be back here tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 noon Eastern, where we'll have our colleagues from Review.com are going to tell us about some of the awards that they've given out here at the show. So lots of good stuff. Just stick with the USA Today for all your coverage.